Hello, I'm Stephen Worth. I'm the president of Animation Resources, and I'm the director of the Animation Archive project. Now, when you think of an archive, you generally think of stacks of boxes in acid-free sleeves, in climate-controlled warehouses, and archivists coming to you with a box with white gloves and standing over your shoulder as you try to get some use out of it. Or you think of a library and you think of books like this going off into infinity. That has always traditionally been what an archive and library is. But in the digital age, things are a little different. We have more possibilities. Let me tell you a little bit about where this project started, and I think you'll understand where I'm coming from a little better. Back when I was in college, I was volunteering under Bill Scott. And Bill Scott was a great story man. He was a voice actor, Bullwinkle's voice, and he was a nice guy and a good friend of mine. He had an idea that he wanted to pull off. He wanted to do an animatech, and his idea for the animatech would be that it would be a museum, a library, a screening room, and a workshop, all dedicated to the use of animators. He wanted it to become a cultural center in Los Angeles that all animators could come to and grow as artists. And at the time, this was probably late 80s, I'm guessing. At the time, there weren't the resources or the money to pull it off. And the project kind of got backburnered. But I always had it in the back of my head that I'd like to do an animatech like what Bill Scott was talking about. So now we flash forward into many years later when I'm working at Spumco for John Cristofalusi. John was a big advocate of libraries. His studio consisted of a huge bullpen in the center and little artist's office all the way around it. And he wanted it so that all of the artists could come in and access his library. He wanted the artists to grow. He wanted them to do better with every scene that they worked on. So the library was really the center of the studio. Well, we'd finished production and we were closing down and moving out of the studio and sending all of the reference material off to storage. And I was packing it up in boxes and I was thinking to myself, you know, when you put a great comic book or a book or a video into storage, it becomes almost non-existent. If someone can't access it, if it's in a limbo in a storage locker somewhere in Simi Valley, it doesn't do any good to the world. But if you can take that physical object and digitize it, put it on a hard drive, connect it to the internet, that single physical object can be shared with people all over the world and can help innumerable number of artists. So what I decided to do is kind of merge the idea of a digital library with Bill Scott's idea of the Animatech and created Animation Resources and the Animation Archive project. And 10 years later, our database is growing into gargantuan proportions. It's basically the Library of Thebes of cartooning. And I really want you to know about it because when you see us just on Facebook and the web page, all you're seeing there is a tiny fraction of the material that we've digitized and that we want to be able to make available to you. I hope you'll see what we're doing, get excited, and try to be a part of this because everyone who is an animator, every creative person interested in animation or cartooning should be a member of Animation Resources and should be helping to promote this project and push it forward because it's only going to help the whole art form in the end. But let me show you what it is that we plan to do here. This is our archive database. Here you're looking at what our volunteers have been working on for the past 10 years. Now when you look at our website and see our social media, you see articles and you see examples of scans of artwork and digitized cartoons, but that's the tip of the iceberg. What we've really been working on is building the ultimate artist's clip file, the greatest cartoonist reference library ever. And I think that it's going to really excite you. What we're looking at here is a database structure that was designed for us by a great volunteer named Gemma Ross. Gemma did a terrific job of creating a very simple user interface that's intuitive, which is important when you have thousands and hundreds of thousands of records that you're trying to organize and cross-catalog. This database consists of 3 types of information. Filmography is the films themselves. Those are digitized cartoons. Media is scans of flat artwork. That could be original artwork, animation drawings, books, magazines, illustration, print cartoons, comic books, anything that can be laid on a flatbed scanner. Biography is information about the artists themselves. Now, every one of these 3 areas are all cross-linked. So I'm going to show you a demonstration here. I think this will pretty much amaze you. Here is our biography section. You can see up here it says biographic database. I hope you can read this. These are our biographies of artists that we have in our collection. These have been written by students, researchers, volunteers. In this case, I'm going to click on Iwerks, who is the man who created Mickey Mouse, and he's kind of one of our poster children of animation resources, I guess is the phrase for it. What we have here is a caricature of Ub and his birth and death information, occupation, capsule biography, his early life and family, his education and training, an outline of his career where he worked, his style, his influences, his personality, anecdotes that other artists may have told about him, honors, bibliographic references that can be links that go out into the web, and a complete filmography here. This is all the films that Iwerks was credited on. Now, as I said before, each area of this database is linked to every other area. So if I'm on the Iwerks page and I click on Film Crosslinks, it comes up with all of the films in the database that Iwerks is credited on. You click on the title of the film, in this case Snow Time, which is a Columbia Color Rhapsody, and it comes up with the release information, who worked on it, that sort of thing, and a digitized cartoon version that is still frameable, so you can step through it and study the action, both forwards and backwards. Now, there are over 7,000 cartoons in our collection. Many of them haven't been seen, like for instance, this one probably hasn't been seen since the 50s on TV. We've had great collectors and film archivists who have shared with us. We've digitized things ourselves that are on film stock that's in risk of deterioration. It's essentially the greatest collection of animation instantly accessible that you can possibly find. So if I go back to the list here and I say filmography, find all, it's in the process of putting them in order now. This is all the films that we have in our collection. Actually, this is all the films we have in our prototype database. We're in the process of processing more films to bring it up to the full 8,000 animated films. But you can see that there are thousands in here already. Terrytoons, Warner Brothers, Lance, Disney, Columbia, Fleischer, MGM, UPA, an ocean of great animation. Now, the great thing is that the old guys who made these films aren't alive anymore. They can't tell us how to make great animated films. But everything you need to know is encapsulated in the films. If you have an analytical mind, you can break it down. You can learn from the masters, and that's what we're looking to do here. So these are the films in the database. Media is basically the same thing except for images. So I click on Find All for this, and it's going to take a second to sort, because at this point we have about 15,000 records in our prototype database here. But what we intend to do is to bring all 150,000 images in. Now, here we have the list of all of the scans of flat artwork that we have in our database. so far. So here's Tony the Tiger animation layout drawings. There's illustrations by Edmund Dulac. There's Milt Gross. There's Ren and Stimpy storyboards. There's illustration. There's comic books. There's magazine articles, newspaper cartoons. There's even, let me show you this here. This is a scene of animation by Art Babbitt, and you can actually step frame through the animation and study it. This was from a UPA Mr. Magoo cartoon, and Mr. Magoo is playing golf and he mistakes dandelions for golf balls, and the bear is trying to bite a dandelion that's floating through the air. Now imagine being able to study animation like this. This is studying at the feet of a great animator, Art Babbitt. I could click through this all day long, but I want to show you some more. Back to list. So there are literally thousands and thousands of images in here. Each one, like I showed you, consists of a detail page that has information on all of the artists who made it and the studio and what the drawing was done for. Then there's a general image of it, and then you click again and it comes through with a high resolution image. We scan everything at 1200 dots per inch, so our master scans, you can actually see the fibers, individual fibers in the paper. We have it knocked down to a smaller size to go into the database, but you can get an idea of the kind of detail that is possible in our digitized copies of this artwork. The great thing is that the treasures that are brought to us to digitize, most people never see. They aren't in museums, they're in private collections. And a private collector can lend them to us, we can digitize them and give them back the physical object, but the world still gets the benefit of the information in that object. So I've shown you the database here. I'm sure that probably makes you pretty excited. But now I'm going to show you what we've been doing for the past 3 to 5 years approximately. This is what we're working on right now. For the first year or two, we went through all of the images, all 150,000 images, and made high-resolution scans or high-resolution JPEGs of them that can be pushed over the internet. So, for instance, each one of these folders here has 1,000 records in it. There are 150 folders. Now, each one of these is a high-resolution scan. In this case, it's a German caricature magazine. Let's see if I can find what we were just looking at there. I'll go to the relatively close to the beginning here. Here is a book by Edmund Dulac, and I want to show you the kind of resolution that we're doing here by zooming in. We can blow it up and you can actually see the halftone dots in the original printing. All of the material that we've gone through for our database, we've gone through all of the things that are in that prototype database, and we've increased the resolution to this resolution, which is 3,000 pixels across. It's a tremendous improvement, and imagine if you can put your reference material on a monitor up above you or on an iPad next to your drawing board and work with it and study with it. That's what we want to be able to bring this to you to do. So each one of these is another image in our collection. I think we're in illustration right here. So there's Playboy cartoons, and they're runs, complete runs of all of the cartoons in a single issue of Playboy. When we scan publications, we scan virtually everything in the publication. Over here is the same thing for videos. Now, if you look at this list here, this consists of 1,000 animated films. I showed you a few of them. I'm going to show you, let's see if I can find something here to bring up. For instance, here is a Mickey Mouse cartoon called Alpine Climbers. I'm going to make this full screen so you can see. We have made the videos streamable and de-interlaced. So if you notice here, as I step frame through it, there's no jitter frames. It's completely stable. You can see each individual cell. This is in DVD quality. This is 480p, if you know anything about the video resolutions. All of our material is at 480p. And that's what we would like to be able to stream so that people can actually study them. So for instance, there's a Disney cartoon. Here is a 1926 Terrytoons. A Fleischer cartoon from 1938. Most of this material has never been released on home video. You can imagine how rare this is. Collectors have come to us and shared their collections with us, and we've digitized them and added them to the database. Here's a Columbia Color Rhapsody from 1931. Every one of our videos takes about, for a 7-minute cartoon, it takes about 2.5 hours to process, de-interlace, and restore. So this computer runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week processing videos. All of these are going to be imported into the database as soon as we're completed with our processing, and all of the images will be imported into the database as well. And that is going to be probably the most important collection of reference material for animators in the entire world. I think you can see how important this project is. This is the first time I've actually been able to demonstrate this publicly. I hope you find it fascinating, and I hope you help us take this to the next level. So, there you have it. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? I think you have to agree Animation Resources doesn't think small. And our plans for the future are even greater than this. Obviously, a database on a computer in Los Angeles does no good for someone on the other side of the planet. What we would like to do is to bring this data through the internet to all of our members all over the world. Now, obviously, there are costs associated with that. Bandwidth, housing the data on the server, all of those things cost a great deal of money. But what we're doing is, as our membership roles increase, we provide more information to you. So it's to your benefit to become a member of Animation Resources, and encourage all of your peers to become members as well. At this point, it's $85 for a general membership and $60 for a student or educator membership, which is a bargain when you think about it. When you think about the amount of money that you spend on student loans and school tuition and books and even parking to go to school, it all dwarfs what an Animation Resources membership costs. So what we would like to do is to encourage you to join Animation Resources, to help us bring this material to you. We're not looking to recreate a golden age of animation. That's not why we're showing you old cartoons and scans of artwork from the 1920s. We don't want to go backwards, we want to go forwards. And the way you do that is to build a foundation, a solid foundation from the past, build on top of that to go beyond what's been done before. We don't want to go back to the golden age. We want to create an age that surpasses it. Animation Resources can help you do that. We want to help you do that. So join Animation Resources. Every other month, at this point, you'll get a ebook with hundreds of pages of material curated by the Advisory Board of Animation Resources, and several downloadable animated cartoons to study that can all be still framed so you can study the motion. It's an invaluable resource. So when you think about it, that's 6 books a year and approximately 18 downloadable animated cartoons every year. For $85, that's really a bargain. So hopefully I've encouraged you. You will join Animation Resources. You'll help us bring this material to the world and bring back cartoons that all of us want to watch. Cartoons with skill, cartoons with imagination, cartoons that break new ground and do things that have never been done before and say things that have never been said before. That's our goal here at Animation Resources, and like I say, we don't think small. I really hope you'll consider this, and if you're in Los Angeles, come help us volunteer to build our database and to expand our coverage. And you can expect, if you're a member of Animation Resources, to every year, every month that goes by, get a little bit more for your dues than what you got the month before. Because we're a 501c3 nonprofit, which means that all of our money goes back into serving the worldwide animation community. So I hope you'll really consider this and tell your friends, share this video with other people, join our Facebook groups. We have 3 of them. One is for the Animation Archive, one is for the Animation Creative League, and the other one is a general Animation Resources page. Join all 3 of those. Look at our articles, explore our website. There's a million treasures in our website. Just click through the links all over the place and see what you find. You'll be amazed. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to meeting with you in the future if you ever come to Los Angeles. If not, you'll be seeing me over the internet. Thanks. Bye-bye.